What's going on, folks? It's Glendon with the third episode of the American Hustler podcast. The deal is today, manage your money or your money will manage you. I've talked about it often. I've said it in many videos, but I've never really broken it down because there is this erroneous thought that if you make more money, it's going to solve problems. I'm going to explain to you how when making more money with piss poor financial management tools in your life can cause you a lot more problems. And it's really about choice, habits, and just selfish desires. One of the deals is if you make a lot of money, you have to put money away. It's not sexy, it's not desirable, but the more money you make, the more money you need to put away. If you're making $30,000 a year, it's going to be real hard for you to put 10 grand away because taxes are kicking you in the ass. But if you're making $300,000, you really need to put 30% away, which is about 90 G's. Or better, if you're really on top of your game, 150,000. And I know you're going, what? The thing is, you hear this saying over and over, the more money you make, the more money you spend. That is just a choice. It's not an automatic occurrence in your life. It's a choice. I'm going to give you some parameters and explain to you why as soon as your business starts making money, you need to peel some off and put in a Roth IRA. I'm a big proponent of Roth IRAs. And a SEP and kind of split your money. And the reason is simple. Taxes are going up. Don't care what anyone says. It doesn't matter who's in the office. It could be Obama. It could be Willie Lump. It could be, the Pope. Anybody can, and still taxes are going up because economically, most of the countries of the world, very few, have some serious budgetary problems. And you can only cut back so much. And we've also are going through this, what I want to call job compression. Due to technology and outsourcing, or let's just call it displacement, you're not being replaced, you're being displaced. It's like when you take a rock and you put it in water, a bowl of water, and the water splashes out on the sides. That water was displaced. And when you take the rock out, there's no more water going back in. That's what's happening to the jobs across the world. They're being displaced. They're being eradicated by technology, efficiency, and new gee whiz big bang things. So if your job can be replaced by an algorithm, you are in deep shit, buddy. Because it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. It's going to happen. So in terms of career planning, you have to be able to do stuff that computers and technology can't do. That's where you're going to make money because people are going to be, next 5 years are going to be critical. They're going to be really critical for a lot of people. So let's talk about you as an entrepreneur and you're making money and what you should do with that money. And this is going to be a little different because there are some people it's like, invest all of the profits back in the business. I'm going to say no. Depending on how much money you make, and let's just say you have a business and just throw a number out there, $50,000 is the net profit. Discussing net profit. Net profit is above and beyond all expenses. So if you say you had $150,000 in gross sales, business expenses, and after everybody was paid, it was a net profit of $50,000. Out of that $50,000, you're going to have taxes on that. This is where learning financial tools, getting your financial education will help you. Because if you just take that $50,000 and just pay taxes, you're really fucking yourself. So you got $50,000, right? Whoa, you're self-employed. Okay, you can take advantage of both a Roth and IRA. And I think and that's This is where having an accountant and looking at, because understand, when I said $150,000 earned, that was gross income. That was a business. That was not profit. Profit is what is your salary or what you get paid. Understand that. So with the $50,000 in profit, you fully qualify for the Roth IRA and the SEP. Now, I'm going to give you an example of one of my guys and how he did it. Now, this is his unique situation. He didn't do $150,000 in gross sales, but he had $50,000 net profit. And he has a wonderful thing in his life called a great wife. Wonderful woman. Very, very nice, sweet, loving woman. And this wonderful woman has a job. Okay? So, they looked at their financial map. Everyone's financial map is going to be different, because you include things in there if your retirement, if you have kids, or, there's so many things that go in. So everyone's map's going to be totally different. So he looked at his wife and said, look, let's do this. He put 15 grand in a Roth, in his SEP, and then he put 5,000 in his Roth. Then he took money and fully funded his wife's income, her pension, well, not her pension plan, but her IRA contributions at her job, because they had a match up to $6,000, which is free money. Okay, doing all that, they reduced their tax bill damn near $30,000. Business expenses, but $30,000, and they got all of the money his wife had paid for federal income tax back. So let's really look at that. By having a financial education, putting money away, both of their retirement plans were fully funded. There was a $6,000 extra money from a company match, and they got a big ass, I'm talking about damn near 12 grand refund back. Now, they have an accountant. He itemized, he did all the right things, he kept up with his expenses. But this is the power of having a business. I'm going to give you another example, and this is the guy. I bought his storage unit, had the tax receipts, had everything he was making. This guy owned a restaurant. $500,000 in a year. From what I can estimate, the profits were running around $200,000, because he was a good restaurateur. He was very good. He was on the cost. But he was an excellent restaurateur and business person, but he sucked on the personal financial tip. I found leases to high-end cars for him, the girlfriend, the wife. There was a lot of poor capital allocation moves that was just crazy, because he was making a lot of money, but every month he was running a deficit on the personal side. He was running a deficit. So he had $500,000 income, and this guy had less money than the first example I gave you. This guy and his wife, he had less money socked away than they did. And they made less than a fifth of what he, grossed. They grossed less than a fifth of what he made. So that just goes to show you it's about choice and action and planning and having a map. Because as an entrepreneur, you just can't go out here and jack off your money, especially if you're in sales. Because look, it's March, it'll be April, there's going to be May, and then there's going to be the big summer slowdown depending on what you sell. Summer, a lot of stuff gets slow. It just gets slow. It doesn't stop, but it just goes. So if you're just living at the max of your income, and when you go through a slowdown, you're going to feel pain. You're going to feel a lot of pain. But let me give you the entrepreneur financial stack up plan. Number one, you need to put 5 or 10% in a savings account, money market fund. This is money that you may need to live on. 5-10%. Then you need to put another 5-10% in a Roth IRA. You need to crank it up to your ability, depending on your income. And it's when you get to the 6-figure mark, 7-figure mark, then all this just totally becomes a different ball game. But I'm going to keep it in the realm of the average business owner, because most people have a business, they make less than 6 figures. Take home pay. The business may gross 6 figures. The business may even gross 7 figures, but they're only going to take home typically under 100 grand. Take home money, pocket money, what you pay your mortgage or, feed your kids with, that stuff. So you gotta make it a habit to actively put money away. Many financial planners will tell you just put it on autopilot. It just comes out your check. You don't think about it. When you have a personal crisis, you'll think about it and you'll stop it. Learn to get used to managing your money. Learn to do research. I'll tell you, if you just go ahead and subscribe to a lot of financial blogs and just take 10 hours a week, and understand, you're probably watching 30 hours of TV a week, and that's taking money out your pocket. So 10 hours dedicated a week on building your financial education is a worthy investment. And as you become more astute, it won't take 10 hours because you'll know where to look, and you'll develop your financial plan. So that's it. 5-10%, 5-10%, and learn to not spend money. In my producer consumer video on YouTube, there's a challenge. Just go 1 week without spending any money. And for a lot of people, it's a hard thing to do because spending money is a habit. It's a habit. It's not necessarily you have to do it. You habitually are hooked on it because spending money's fun. Buying new stuff is fun. Getting new shit is fun. But putting money in a bank account and watching it stack is even more fun. Because when you reach whatever threshold that really excites you, then you start looking for ways to save money. Then you start throwing money in there because you see it stacking. Another way that you can save money if you have a mate. You got a business, right? And you got to sit your spouse or your wife down, and you really got to have this serious conversation. And this is very radical. This is extremely radical. This is some of the stuff that I've helped people do in my consulting practice. You've got to come up with some better goals. Just saving for retirement. What kind of retirement? You got to ask yourself, what kind of retirement do you want? What do you really want to achieve? Because you might be able to do some of that stuff now if you not necessarily cut back, but redirect your money. You might be able to do some of that stuff, but sit your spouse down and it's like, look, we need to come up with a game plan. Now, I'm going to give you my game plan if I ever get married again. I'm going to sit her down and I'm going to say, look, this is the deal. And this is going to be early in the dating process, early, because I have dated women who were 50, 60, 200, $300,000 in debt. And my dick immediately went soft when I heard, I'm getting ready to get some. I'm getting ready to get in there. And I'm 200. Wong, 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 wong. Well, it wouldn't jump. I'm just like, whoa. And the reason is simple. As a man, there are certain roles. You meet this woman, you marry this woman, you tell her you love her, and she's got all these bills. It's part of the deal for you to help her because y'all are now a team, and what you had before you got married is now hers, and what she had before you got married is now yours, including that monster ass debt. And that's not going to work for me. No fucking way. Because if you've gotten that type of debt and you didn't stop the hemorrhaging, you have some bad money practices that are going to be hard to change. So I'm sitting down and I was like, look, baby, this is the deal. I make this, you make this, and this is what we're going to do. We are not going to live to the height of our income. We're not. Don't care what, we're not. We're not going to max out. We're not going to ball out. What we're going to do for the first 5 years of our marriage is whoever makes the most, we're going to live on that. I've dated women that made, damn near $1 million. So it's real possible. Whoever makes the most, we're living on that. And then the other salary, we are banking and investing. And then whatever instruments or wherever I want to put it or what I'm looking at, I'm going to have it on the table and we're going to spread it out and I'm going to just walk us through it step by step by step. Because in the first 5 years, and just to give you just some simple numbers, I'm going to keep it in the realm of normal. I'm not going to like ballin', give you this $1 million. No, I'm going to give you real figures from real people. Let's just say the two incomes are $100,000 and $80,000. Okay, so that's $180,000 income, and and this is another reason to stack some money because you stack your money right. One of the incomes is from a business, which gives you all kinds of write-offs. So $100,000. We love off that, which is a pretty good living. You manage your money, right? It really is. So we got 80,000. Then 80,000 is going to get hit. Just, once again, money's going to be going into Roth, SEPs, everything. So it's going to be defrayed. It's going to be defrayed. But let's just say there's a solid $58,000 cash per year. Okay? 58,000. So for 5 years, we're banking that. Now understand, out of the 100,000, Roth contributions are coming out. They have to whittle down the tax bill. SEP contributions are coming out of that. And I mean, seriously, because you have to put the money in this place to get the maximum cash outlay from the second salary. So that money is going in something safe. It's not going to go into a high risk venture because it's not my money. It's not her money. It's our money. And it has to be well preserved. But I mean, even if we did nothing more than put it in a money market fund, we're talking $250,000 cash in 5 years, which puts us in terms of net worth in the top 5% of the country. Because when you're living like this, you don't have car payments. Because I'm like, okay, because, unless I, get a vehicle for the show that I have coming up, I'm going to have a car that's paid off. I'm going to urge her to have a car that's paid off. So we're not going to have car notes. And, I live in an apartment because I was going to get the hell out of Georgia. And now that I decided to stay, I will get another house. But, it's not necessary. So there's not going to be these 2 houses deals and all this other stuff, and just, if there were 2 houses, this is my plan. We selling both those bitches, get rid of them, and we're going to buy a house together because of the ghost of dating and stuff. And I've always said that, and I mean it. So we won't have car payments. We won't have credit card debt. We essentially will be doing nothing but creating net worth. I'll be working on my business. She'll be working her job. And another thing that's going to happen, we're not going to have money fights. We're not going to have money stress. We're not going to have a lack of whatever happens, we'll be ready. And that is the plan for, getting married and building a stable family unit. Because you do that, a lot of stuff disappears. A lot of stuff disappears. Now let's crank it up and say, as an entrepreneur, you're already married. Okay. You are going to have to cut something to create free cash flow so you can start saving and investing. You have to do it. It's not optional because, see, this is where most entrepreneurs get into a lot of problems. They're living on the edge of their money, or they've completely fallen off the cliff and they're robbing Peter to pay Paul. And it creates this angst. And for some people, it's a big source of drive, and it just drives their business higher and higher because they have to. They're on that treadmill. But you need to manage your money, or your money's going to manage you. You will be at the beck and call. And that's one of the reasons. And just to be clear, because I've got 2 videos on YouTube, the degree myth and the second degree myth. And every time I comment and it goes on my Facebook page, all my friends with degrees get all bent out of shape, and they're missing the complete point. Because if I was to be mean and call some people out, I'm like, dude, you're living with your mama. Dude, you've never owned a house. Dude, you don't even have a car. And you're saying your degree was worth it? Why isn't there evidence of that in your life? You're fucking broke. If I wanted to be mean. But I was like, sometimes it's just better to get along than to be right, because then you will have no friends, especially in my case. So what I'm saying is, getting this huge level of student loan debt is a onerous burden for someone really young that will impact their financial life for decades, if not forever. Going to school and getting out of school at the age of 21, 22 with 50, 60, 70, 80, $100,000 of student loan debt, and you don't have a job that has enough income for you to service that debt quickly, it's going to follow you around forever. Then you go out and you meet someone and they've got the same kind of debt load, or, say half, both of you together are $150,000, $200,000 in debt. This is not a mortgage. This is not car payment. This isn't credit cards. This is strictly student loans. And student loan laws have changed. They do not go away. You cannot discharge them in bankruptcy anymore. You used to be able to. You can't do it anymore. and they can come after you forever. It's not worth it in my estimation. You go to college, go to community college, if you got to get the paper, get it as cheap as possible, because they're just not paying off like they used to. Part of that is what people are learning in these schools is outdated information. I know it's really strange. And this is not all colleges, but I've talked to people with degrees of late, and I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. I see kids on YouTube that have worked on their business, whether it's music, video, telling jokes, whatever, worked on their craft, and they make more money, and they didn't make that kind of investment. So, you really have to look at that. But you definitely have to start managing your money. And this is the simple way. If you really suck at managing your money right now, here's a quick tip. Take it in weekly stages. Say you are a reseller, you made $800. What you're going to do is take $20 or $50 and put it somewhere. You're not going to put $200, $300, $400, $500, because that's too much for you right now, because you're not used to putting that kind of money away. And the minute something happens, or your hand starts getting that spending itch, you're going to pull the money out and do something with it. But $20, $50 is something you can let build. And every week, $20, $50, whatever. And I guarantee you, when you get to $1,000 or $1,500 or $2,000, you're going to become really excited. You're going to become very excited, and it's going to be easier to do. You've got to ease your way into it, because what you're doing is changing financial habits. There's a reason that you're broke right now. It's a habit. It's not how much money you make. It's not. Trust me, it's not how much money you make. Unless you're making like no money, okay, that's different. But if you're making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year and you're broke, it's because of your spending habits. Not the money, not the economy, not the taxes. It's your spending habits, because you cannot have everything that you want. You just simply can't. It's not good for you. Learn to build up and pre-buy. You want a car? I'm telling you, $3,000, $4,000 cash can get you a very decent car these days, and you will not have a car payment. I will say that right now, if you've got this $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 car with a $500, $600, $700, $800, $900 payment per month, and that is not a business vehicle that you can use to make money, sell it, take the hit, and get a car that you can pay cash for. Because if you're paying $900 a month, 3-4 months, or if you just really cram it, you just really save, and you get $3 or $4 grand, you can get you a car. Will it be as glamorous? No, it will not be as glamorous. It will not have all the gee whiz technology. No, but you will be free. You will have more peace. Because I've noticed something with some people, that many folks with, and this isn't everyone by any stretch of the imagination, but there are many people with really nice cars and really nice houses, and they're never home because they've got to be out there making that cheddar to keep it, and they can't enjoy this stuff. That's sad. That's patently sad to me, but that's the reality of a lot of people, and they realize, like, well, you got to do it. And this morning I was listening to a local talk show, and one of the commentators said, in this economy, you got to have 2 incomes. And I was like, bullshit. Depends. Like, you have one real big one, you don't have to have 2 incomes. You don't. See, that's that thinking. It's like you have to live at the edge of your income. You have to drive a certain car. You have to live in a certain neighborhood. Your kids have to. No, they don't. All of these are choices. And you have to weigh it out. Is this a good choice or a bad choice for your business? You really have to ask yourself that. Is this a good choice? Because once again, with this job compression that's going on, there's a lot of people who are going to find themselves unable to generate a certain level of income because they don't have the skills. And they were out spending money to make themselves happy after a horrible week, and versus investing in themselves and building something more sustainable long term. And, doing what I like to call making money when you sleep. Everybody can create some business. Now, I hate eBay, okay? I have issues with eBay. But I would rather you deal with eBay Amazon, Etsy, and get some little side cash going on. Something to bring more money into your life. Do not think, because I believe in doing this, learning to manage your money and learning to, let me just clear it up. Learning to manage your money that you already have coming in, and then go out and make more money. This is what most people do. I have a budgetary shortfall, so I need to go out here and get a part-time job. And the impetus is for them to go out and get something to fix a deficiency that's already there. If you go ahead and you tighten up and straighten up your financial picture and then get a part-time job, as they used to say back on the show in Living Color, more money, more money, more money. More money. Because then it's coming in and it's actually parking in your checking account. And then it's, before you route it to your savings, your savings account or your investments. You get to see the velocity of money coming in your life and staying there and building. Most people's checking accounts are launch pads. Money comes in and like those clay birds at the skeet range. That's how their money's going. It's hitting that account for a second, then it's out of there. Learn to have money in your life. Learn to appreciate money. Money is not evil. It's not a bad thing. And that's why some people, I think some people spend money so quick because they feel it's evil and they got to get out their life as quick as possible. It's just totally nuts. But if you're an entrepreneur, money management skills are paramount because you could be brilliant. You can come up with the next gee whiz bang thing. You can make millions. You can even make billions. And because you have no financial education, you could be broke. We've seen this. Bernie Madoff, he got greedy. Here's a guy that was well educated. He was making millions and he got greedy and he did something illegal because he wanted more money without actually working for it. And as a consequence, thousands of people were hurt. Let's see. I think it's Kara Sedgwick and her husband, Kevin Bacon, if I'm correct. Their investments were with him and they were completely wiped out. Completely wiped out. Fortunately for them, they both are still working and make decent money. And I think Kara did the closer. So she's got, income coming in for a while and residuals from that. But they lost a chunk of money because people are greedy. And understand, I'm a capitalist and I'm a staunch opportunist. I believe in making money, but I also believe in being reasonable. You cannot have a 7-figure lifestyle on the 6 figures. Develop the 7 figures first and then get the lifestyle. So many people are chasing the dream, but feel entitled to live the dream at the same time. It's not going to work. It's not. It's going to keep you broke, disenchanted, disenfranchised, and totally pissed off at the world. This old saying I heard one night in the emergency room. It was Troy. He said it. And it stuck with me for the last, 20-some years. Luxuries once tasted become necessities. And it is true in a broad spectrum across many incidents of this thing called life. Once you get used to spending money, you feel entitled to spending money, whether it makes sense or not. Most people don't have a budget. You're going to have a budget. You will have to have a budget as an entrepreneur. You will have to be more on top of your money as an entrepreneur than you ever were as an individual, because you have something else and potentially employees dependent on you. It's bigger than you. When we had our business and we had the event, the eBay thing, I had to pay people. They got paid. I was eating like cheap little sandwiches for about a few days because I didn't have no money, but my people got paid. That's the ownership and responsibility and accountability of being an entrepreneur. You're doing this thing, you really got to step it up. So understand that when you do these things, you have to build certain mental disciplines. I will go deeper into this with more figures, because there's probably at some point going to be the podcast called the 50% solution, because your goal is to get your business up to where you are earning like 150, 200,000, 200 grand net profit. And then the goal is you bank 50% of that. And I'll just, give you, because it's going to be more involved, but I'll just give it to you. All right. So you make $200,000 net profit. You bank 100 grand, right? Manage to get that rolling, keep it going for 10 years. Okay. That's $1 million principal. That's not, interest and all this other thing that's principal. You can essentially build something and be able to retire in 10 years. Because as you build this velocity and you build these things and you learn how money works, 40s or 50s, you don't have the time for the compound and the interest thing to really work for you. You just don't. At this point, this is when people become desperate and start taking extreme risks, looking for those 15%, 20, 30, 40% returns that just really aren't out there for the most time. It can happen. It can happen, but it's not going to happen to the average investor. It's not. The average investor is pretty much breaking even with low fees and all these things that are going on. Because understand, everybody's out to get your money, including you. Well, that's it. I'm going to keep it short, but there will be more detailed, in-depth things about managing your money. Because the thing is, that's where it all starts. That's where it all starts. Because if you have totally astute money management habits and you're making like 60, 70,000, and you realize your position in life and you realize that you need to make certain financial moves, such as having a car that's paid off, not blowing a lot of money, you can live very well. Very, very, very well. And it's just about delayed gratification and learning how to save and get stuff after the fact versus I gotta have it now. That's what kills people. That's what keeps people poor. All right. This is Glendon with the American Hustler, and I'll see you on the good side.